No.
Okay, let's have some reminders from last session. Reggie and Seb are the only characters to spot the oncoming Wolfman.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Tango is sneaking up White Mountain. Sebastian is at the top of White Mountain already. Everyone has some paraffin and sandwiches. Get a new 10-foot pole. Holburn wants to ignore Woodrow's next cry for help.
The well deserved ignored.
And I believe that's where we... Sorry, I have no idea why I was so sneezy all of a sudden. I believe that's where we left off. With... Did we have... Reggie... Reginald Foxley Smythe has line of sight on something sort of lumbering up the bluffs or through the bluffs towards you.
Oh yeah, I don't know what it is yet though.
Yes, just that it's big and hairy.
And I can probably put two and two together.
Yes, I would say it's probably fair. It is upright. Yes, plot twist. This is now changing the Lost game.
Oh god! No! The edge! We can't handle it, Captain!
Phrasing.
Anywho. What are we doing, folks? You are all somewhat alerted, even if only one of you has sight at the moment. And I'm going to go ahead and call this a time-sensitive situation, so if you don't do something, then the NPC's
I'm
going to
not quite sure what we can do about alerting everyone to the danger, given that we don't want to let it know that we've seen it.
Well, it's okay, because if you recall, the other members of the party down there have already... I believe Woodrow Tango had started bugging out up the mountain.
Yeah, I'll be continuing to do so.
Yeah,
I see.
And then Holburn Twight and Timothy Poperjack, if I recall correctly, had immediately gone to machine gun sponsons on one of two of the cars pointing down the hill. They just haven't got line of sight on the thing, so they're already looking suspicious as all hell.
Right.
I'm just gonna nonchalantly swing around my guitar, my gun around the sponsor, and just casual, as you do.
Yeah, it's fine. Holburn actually, let's see, where was Holburn's Schlort character? Alan would have been back at the inn, I believe, when you saw a large wolfman attack one of these cars previously and just murderize everyone. There, Reginald.
But you know what? I have a power of guns on my side.
Yeah, exactly. You have no reason to believe that they're immune to gunfire.
They clearly got them by surprise, right? Sometimes you don't see these things coming.
More bullets means it's more likely to die, okay? Before we just had pistols.
I mean, OOC, aren't they immune to bullets in this system?
Not technically, but effectively.
Well,
More bullets.
I'm always happy to bet on not technically.
Because I know in Forsaken they buffed them up to be like the old Garou, and that made them literally immune to bullets.
I mean, Garou is supposed to be immune to bullets by and large.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally, so one, I tend to prefer using werewolves as lupines rather than Garou, but two, if anything, that actually makes them killier, though that's magical. But still, they're generally quite damage resistant outside of extenuating or niche circumstances, which I don't think any of you would have any way of knowing, other than the silver bullets thing, which is pretty common knowledge.
Or just, silver. But bullets is the easiest way of getting it into them.
Surely.
Yeah.
No, young Nicholas, no. This is not a giggle situation. You cannot fuck the werewolf to death with silver.
Not with that.
Well,
I just don't think you got enough silver.
you're not trying hard enough.
So you don't know if it's around in Oh no, yep. Silver bullets are already a thing that's mythologized to do it. Just not been immortalized in film quite so much. Carry on then, folks.
Of course, I can't even curse it.
Yes, the last time you tried, your curse bounced off, which you've literally never had happen before. So it was news for you that was even possible. As the three of you are considering your options, Woodrow Tango, you're trying to make your way up White Mountain, but as you may recall from the first time you did this, there is an odd fatiguing sensation, and now you have a certain time pressure to do it too. Plus you're apparently trying to not look too suspicious. Can I get stamina plus athletics, please? Difficulty 6 from Woodrow. And I think your physical balance probably does apply here.
Yeah. What's that? -2, right?
Yeah, -2 pool mod.
I actually have good athletics and stamina.
Oh, I'm glad I should check.
5. What was the diff?
I think it's a diff 6.
Ah,
So
good.
That's net 2 successes. Yeah, you've already been murdered, essentially, once tonight. And after one brush with death, you are not too keen on another. That alone powers you through. That and the powerful dose of amphetamines that you're on, the painkillers retrieved from the car, giving you a certain sense of calm that, even though you're feeling tired, is allowing you to push on through. That detachment from your body serving you well. Folks at the bottom of the hill. Mountain. What are we doing?
Bill can't see anything. I take a brief look back up the mountain, looking at our friend in the wheelchair.
At last check, he was silhouetted against the bowl. But let's check in with Seb and see what he's been doing up there. You still up there, Carl?
Oh yeah, to a degree, I'm wheeling backwards ever so slightly.
Okay, so just gently silhouetted against the tiny, gossamer thin haze of starlight that you have available to you, Poperjack, you can see still just about the silhouette of Woodrow Thornbury. And wait, it's getting smaller. Is he wheeling backwards?
Is the path wide enough to get a car up it?
The car that you're currently in was trying to get up the hill, but it will definitely entail putting the engine on.
Which will alert the creature.
Now, the ideal situation, in a survival situation, is so long as I'm not the slowest person, I'll be safe.
Polar bear rules.
So, I'm going to follow suit. I don't know what the threat is. I cannot see the threat. I cannot, therefore, curse the threat. Therefore, I cannot shoot the threat. Therefore, only last option is, let's casually walk up the hill.
At the sight of Captain Timothy Poperjack bugging out without alerting anyone, you feel your eye begin to twitch, Reginald. And seconds later, you realise something. You've lost track of the beast. You can't see it anywhere.
Oh god, I'm going to get clever girled, aren't I?
1 second it was walking through the shadows near, outlining one of the torchlight paths lit by the armoured cars pointing down towards the main road. The next it's gone. The moors are deathly silent.
So who's still down here with me? Or who am I still down here with?
Currently just you and Holburn. All you can hear is your breathing and a few metres away from inside his sponson, the sounds of Holburn alike.
Who's Holburn again?
Ollie.
Moi.
Leave him to die.
Yeah, that's my
die.
That's my plan.
I love you,
But then,
Ollie, I'm
no,
sorry.
but then,
Your
but
character, on the other hand.
there's one problem with that, young Nicholas. Then I would not be acting like a gentleman.
And you see, also he'd be running away, and I have a 360-degree Sponson.
No, you don't.
You don't have a 360-degree sponsor. You
I
have
don't know,
a
that's nothing.
90 degree.
I will
Now-
repost the car.
Thank you.
He is of the lower classes and is there to die for you. It is fine. You are
member
more
of-
an asset.
A member of the Gloucesters abandoning a comrade in the field? Unthinkable.
Wow, that is.
Now, abandoning is one way of putting it. Another way of putting it is using to protect the others as a distraction. It is not retreating. You were not leaving a man behind. You were leaving a man to do his duty. Furious typing.
No, I'm not buying that. I'm going to move towards Holburn. So as to appraise him that the threat is real. Because I don't know if he knows.
He definitely does. He's conspicuously like him and Poperjack both rushed for the armored cars. So
I'm casually swinging my presumably and hopefully not squeaky box Sponson. Just
yeah,
like.
I think to be fair, you're not an idiot. You're not trying to make noise, so you're like moving the Sponson around as much as you can, but also like trying to. I guess you don't really have a vision slot, so you're trying to move the Sponson as best you can and see through whatever sighting thing you've got in there.
How are you meant to aim? I'm seeing is that a window below, like knee level? But that is.
I think that's a side light, actually. A side light and a
That is a side light.
So you've got like a
Yeah.
tiny
You know what-
side
you know
Yeah,
light
I don't
there.
think you do see while you're in that.
You know what? Unfortunately, Ollie, you know what I think you do? I
Head
think
out
you
top.
stick your head out the top
Oh,
because it's old school.
Oh yeah, I guess you might actually just have half a person hanging out of those.
I had not considered that, but that actually seems entirely plausible.
Yeah, 'cause there's definitely no way of seeing from the fucking things.
As I can imagine, you wouldn't want your arms outstretched. It's probably at like waist height for hip fire.
I imagine your head. I imagine you're probably like this, right? Or like this, rather. You can't imagine you're down. You're probably like shoulder height. Would be my hope.
Probably in front of your chest, like you were driving a car or something like that, at a
Alright,
reasonable
well-
height, not
So
hip level.
We'll assume then that you've got like the top bit of your head poking out, because we've been acting as though they're enclosed, right, the whole time. None of us has ever actually considered how the fuck these things are supposed to fire. So, Christ,
Let's see if there's any other angles on the things. There's a few. That's great.
I'm loving is what looks like solid wood wheels.
Yeah,
Christ, I noticed those.
and you pick between sight or protection with the front windows. It looks like.
Yep.
Everything about this screams, I'm a first-generation military vehicle. Am I not a whore? What am I? Mother, I'm confused and
Well,
scared.
Not even that.
What is my purpose?
This is
I found a picture of something that looks like one-armed.
It seems to me like you would just fire this weapon blind, whilst driving blind, whilst feeling every bump in the road.
yes.
Oh my god, so they've just got little hatches.
Incredible.
Okay, so the hatches popped, and for you just got like your eye line just poking out.
It literally looks like a dick as well when you're at that height, which is kind of funny.
Yep.
God damn it.
Entire military doctrine boiled down to one phrase: we have got the Maxim gun, and they have not.
I love the ammunition boxes on the outside.
Oh my god.
I presume as well
This
that
vehicle is so poorly designed.
Yeah, it's designed by people who had spent the last 60 years fighting people armed with spears.
That's really
the point.
not true, though.
Wait,
Is it not?
Like, you realise we've been in...
radiator liquid is on the outside as well.
You realise we'd been in some pretty devastating fucking civil wars. Not
You know
that,
what?
but the major place that these things were fucking deployed were policing actions in Ireland, as well as later the Irish Civil War.
You know
Yeah,
what, though?
but again, this was being run by the British military, which has spent the previous 60 years at
That's
least.
really not true at all.
The version that Creed posted also looks like a V2. Because if you look at the top one, that's got a much flatter bonnet, whereas this one actually has aerodynamics to a degree.
Yeah,
And-
you're right, yeah.
And it has rubber tyres.
Yeah. Actual thicker tyres. And the tyres have treads. They're not...
You know what? Actually,
So they had it, and they remade it
if you look at the front axle, it almost looks like you've got some poor because this would be before power steering, so you've got some poor person who's to literally I doubt there's even like a proper like steering system. It's just like a rod that goes down to an axle that you just pull that way.
Not to mention the fact that, look, this one's got actual armoured doors on it, as opposed to a wire mesh you can easily shoot through.
I think, in their fairness, there looks like there's a flap that goes over that.
Yeah, so the top one has the door over
it. Yeah, I didn't see that. That's fair.
But still, it's dumb in many ways.
Well,
sorry, I feel like you derailed hard there.
Yeah, but I think it was necessary for this little. If you ever really feel bad at your job, remember someone was presumably paid to design this.
You ever feel bad at your job? Remember, the British military literally just spent billions of pounds this year designing a vehicle that can't reverse over anything higher than a 5-centimeter ruler and can't go faster than 20 miles an hour without literally shaking the people inside to the point they develop crippling bone disorders.
I mean, that's just more depressing because it's modern.
Yes.
What is that?
That is the Ajax fighting vehicle for the British Army. It is a masterclass in design incompetence.
I am going to call pace on this
Ajax
discussion. So, that's the two of you down at the foot of the... I'm going to have to cut so much of this fucking conversation. It's the two of you stood down at the base of the mountain. And it sounded like Reginald Foxley Smythe, and like quietly sleuthed over to Holburn Twight. Holburn, who's just peeking out, not really moving the sponson much, but like trying not to move too much so his silhouette isn't too visible. Looking for something, any trace of what's supposed to be down here with you. You're about to open your mouth, Reginald, when a third sound joins the hushed breaths of the two veterans at the foot of the hill. It's a distant, slight, forceful, tearing sound.
All I'm thinking is, nobody move. Its vision is based on movement, I hope.
What do two at the bottom of the hill?
I'm one of the ones at the bottom of the hill,
So
right?
how close is this tearing sound to
Quite
us?
distant at the moment.
Okay, I want to I guess in a hushed whisper, turn to the two people next. Wow, okay. Turn to the two people next. That looks even more useless. I suggest, how about we turn on the lights on one of the vehicles and put a brick on the accelerator and drive it down and have it go down the road?
The lights on essentially all of the vehicles are still going. They've just been... I think the engines are off, but the floodlights that they had on are still pointing where they were left by the crews.
Okay, I'm going to vote that we take any... Because there's a few of these armoured vehicles, right? There's 3, was there?
5, I believe.
5. So I'll take one of the empty ones that's maybe pointing in the easiest direction and just put a brick down in the accelerator, maybe?
All of them were trying to get up the hill at the time that you took them out.
Oh, okay, we're not on the road
Yeah, but
then.
it can still go a different way up the hill while we make a break for it.
Yeah.
I
Hopefully.
mean, I could also put it in the direction of the tearing sounds, maybe. Unless it's too far up the hill. If it's to the side, though, maybe that'll work.
You're having a bit of trouble telling where the tearing sound's coming from. I will take... I think that's going to be perception awareness. Perception alertness, difficulty 8, please.
When you say tearing,
Is that both of us or just him?
Either one of you.
when you say tearing, what type of tearing? Is it metal tearing, wood tearing, rock tearing?
It doesn't
Flesh
sound like
tearing.
rock or metal. That would be flesh, potentially wood or cloth.
Wait, which one? Like flesh, would it like wetter? I'd assume. where
1
wood
degree of
is
success.
Crackly and
degree of
metal.
success. It's quite. Well, I said it wasn't metal to begin with, but it's quite
Oh, it
distant.
wasn't.
Is the thing. So it's like you can't pin it down more than it sounds like a soft material. Cool. 1 success from Reginald. It's coming from more or less the bluffs down where Woodrow was downed, where those soldiers were gunned down by machine gun fire. And meanwhile,
Can we communicate with a look of "Let's get the fuck out of here"?
just turn to face Holburn's eyes as they furrow against the darkness, slowly raising your eyebrows up to almost the top of your head.
I guess I can wiggle the gun up and down in agreement. Or my head, but
The gun will squeak.
I'm just worried he won't be able to see my head, considering, I poke up and I guess I'm seeing his face, so yeah, I'm there, agreed.
Yeah. You had you had your eyes just above the parapets, basically.
Okay.
I think we said.
I'm going to put something heavy on the... I'll climb down out the sponson, and I'm going to be like, let's try and distract it. And I'll explain my plan.
Okay. Are you going to help him, try and stop him, or ignore him there, Reginald?
I'm going to help him.
Okay, in that case, from one of the two of you, I will take... I think that's probably going to be Dex Stealth, please, to do it without making a sound. There's not a lot of finesse, but you're trying to avoid a lot of squeaking.
So I've got...
I'm going to call it difficulty...
7.
Difficulty 7.
I've got 7, and I got 2 willpower.
So I've got I was thinking I could do Dexterity Craft, and that would give me 8. But I don't...
Craft is mechanic, to be fair.
Yeah, but mechanic famously don't really give a monkey's they're making any noise.
Actually, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying Dexterity, to try and do it stealthily. Well, quietly.
Yeah, well, I guess this isn't really a difficult thing for a mechanic, for anyone to do, though. You're just trying to put a brick on the accelerator real quick.
In which case, then, someone can do it as...
Oh, actually, do they have automatic cars in this period? Isn't it going to be manual? So it just stall immediately.
No, you know what the worst thing about it is? It's an old 1920s car. It's got a crank out the front. You can see the crank at the front.
They got the flap at the front, yeah, that's why.
It's got a crank.
Oh. I'm sorry, Ollie. It wasn't.
We have to crank it!
Oh my god!
I will still let you do it. I'm going to up it to diff 9 if you're going to have to hand crank it in silence. But we'll let you do it. Clutch be damned.
I mean, you know what? Fuck it. If you have willpower, Benji.
I mean, risk it for a biscuit. I'm spending a willpower.
So you're not risking it at all, are you?
It's a kind of risk.
You can.
Woohoo!
He's smashing the cookie jar, just taking all the
You
biscuits.
see, that was completely unneeded. You got 3 successes on a difficulty nut, 4 with the willpower.
Yes, but if I hadn't spent the willpower, you know what would have happened.
And then, the thought, you just got a bunch of, oil, is you just found a pot of it, poured it over the little crank bit, shoved it in on really quietly.
Yes, this is fortunately not Reginald Foxley Smythe's first time having to get the car warmed up in the middle of winter without alerting a hungover gentleman nearby who cannot be allowed to hear so much as a smidgen of noise.
It's not about alerting the hungover gentleman. It's about not alerting the lady's husband who's come home early and discovered the gentleman I'm serving in the house.
Oh,
and I need to get the car ready without them hearing our getaway.
And for Holburn Twight on the other half of this, assisting, it's not his first time playing pranks with motor vehicles.
Got so distracted looking up ancient armoured cars. There's some great ones.
It is kind of fun, like that. It's like video games from the 1990s where they're just full of dumb ideas, and you think, so much weird shit people were trying.
These were in World War II, only improved.
Oh my god.
I love how they look like someone's they took the nice flowy cars from the 30s, but just stuck a box on top of them.
Have you ever seen a tankette?
Actually, just a gun emplacement. That's a Cadian heavy gun platform with wheels on it.
Look how stylish this one is.
Oh, that's epic! I love that.
If I may submit the concept of
Oh my god, it's adorable!
That's really cool.
the humble tankette.
That is a great thing. I want one of those.
You can get them, because the good thing about the tankette is that it is a one-person fighting vehicle. The idea is that any one person can drive them.
Have you guys... I'm just going to find it now. There's this incredible...
Zombie apocalypse plan. Tankette.
This I say is one of the best vehicles ever done for war.
It looks like we'd make in fucking 40k and drive around on.
It's
sorry.
a Vespa.
There's something an orc makes.
Yeah.
Given you posted that up with the Hungarians, all I could think of was that Hungarians collaborated with Italians to go, well, we're descended from the Huns, and we wish to return to this way of mobile warfare. Therefore, we're going to strap a gun to a bike.
Apparently this Vespa, the French built 800 of them. And you weren't allowed to fire the bazooka whilst it was running, which is a damn shame. I get why. But still, a damn shame.
They're like, the reason you build these things is because you can't afford to build the bigger, fancier tanks, so you build the small ones, and they equal parts get utterly wrecked, and also are surprisingly good when they work. They're kind of like combi weapons, in that they're either thoroughly underwhelming or, holy shit, that was a lot of firepower we brought for that one occasion where it actually mattered. Anywho. Oh my god, that's a beautiful one, Creed. Why doesn't 40k have more World War I vehicles? The Land Raider does it. We keep adapting shitty sci-fi stuff instead of... Why the fuck are there not tankettes for the Imperial Guard?
Reject grav plates. Return to personal tanks.
Exactly. I want an Imperial Guard motorized division where everyone has their own tankette.
You need a tankette with anti-grav plating.
No, fuck your grav plating. We will have wooden
exactly.
wheels.
We'll have wooden wheels, and
Good wood.
every tankette comes equipped with a heavy stubber and a free auto pistol.
I want to see orcs in tankettes, just like red tankettes, just like zipping around.
Well, clearly we're running an Imperial Army Auxilia tankette campaign.
Yeah.
For Great Crusade.
Oh, we have our own individual little tanks, and they all have names, and they all have like their own little machine spirits. Oh!
I mean, do you remember when we all had Bane Blades?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
That was
cuter,
fucking-
like the chibi version.
I don't remember
We were
when
doing
you all
barrel
had
rolls and
Bane
everything.
It was a tiny one sesh campaign where I think Nick managed to throw himself halfway across the map with a Baneblade.
Remember, you accidentally gave the Baneblade self-righting mechanisms, and we started flipping ourselves all over the place.
It was
I
a
have
one
a vague
shot.
memory of anger at that.
It was a one shot where it was 5 of us with 5 Baneblades versus
I
like a
believe
team or something.
I ended up getting flipped up into the air at a squiggoth's head height or something,
Oh,
and just blew it square in the face.
You were playing God for some reason. Anywho,
Like we're Imperial Guard something, but yeah.
yeah. So, all fantastic vehicles aside. No, focus you, and no more tankettes.
Werewolves!
Yes.
A werewolf in a tankette.
The two of you pull off your little practice. Your little prank. Thank you.
Prankette.
Your little prankette, if you will. And then you more or less have to hightail it out of the automobile and off into the darkness as it goes blaring off at an angle, sort of kind of up the hill, but kind of not. You hear a fierce snapping in the distance, but not comfortably distant enough for either of your likings. And then the sound of heavy footfalls, something running, chasing.
That's right,
Firm smash. The screech of, this time, tearing metal. An ear-splitting roar howls through the night. And for all three of you trying to make your way up the hill, I will take that stealth athletics, that athletics stamina roll, please, diff 6.
I'm going to say this. Shouldn't we have a courage roll for that roar?
That's a very good point.
That's because if that's a Garu roaring, that is a fucking terrifying roar.
It's more than just terrifying, it is supernaturally terrifying.
Am I included in this?
I'm going to say the people at the top of the hill are in a good position. So just the three who are currently making their way up, that includes Poperjack. That'll be a courage check. Difficulty, I think diff 8.
So the first one I rolled is my getting up the hill, and the second one I rolled as Holburn Twight is my courage.
So rolling courage first.
Wait for the
Well, they only
difficulty
have
generally.
2 left.
Aha! British stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
How many 10s do you want to roll tonight, Benji? Fuck.
I'll
Do you want me to
do
re-roll you?
pray.
I'm behaving like a gentleman.
All of the
And
pens.
the spirit of Englishness
yes!
is giving me power. What was the athletics,
I-
sorry?
All three of you bristle your moustaches in various ways and gritting yourself against the supernatural horror sprinting through the night near you, if not necessarily, though potentially at you. You are able to hold your bottle and carry on.
You know that? Remember that scene from Black Panther where they put their cloak forward and it creates a shield? I kind of imagine that with mustaches instead. Just mustache energy forwards, projecting an air of confidence and such. Anyone who's seen the movie will... Huh?
That's right. Do I still need to roll the athletics thing for getting up the hill?
Yes.
Yeah, was it athletics, stamina, or strength?
It was athletics, stamina, diff 6.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
So, 0,
Fucking hell.
1, 0, 1, 0. 2 degrees of success.
I got 4.
God, that's
5,
a lot of
sorry.
ones there. Yeah, no, all three of you forge on up the hill. The fatigue saps at you, that same supernatural tiredness, as you, until at the very last moment, are all but crawling on your knees until you're able to cross the lip and roll into the dip at the top. What do they find when they get up here? What have Sebastian and Tango been doing up here?
I would have started digging if I reached the top with my shovel crutch.
Fair.
I'm eating a sandwich.
Sebastian quietly, calmly, trying not to pay attention to that monster. Knowing very firmly that it stands between him and Tutley without WoD.
Like that's the thing that kind of irritates me, is the direction that the car went.
I believe you picked out the route.
I did nothing. I just, because you... Well, as you mentioned, it is pretty much cut off my main escape route.
Because this is the last time you had a roar out on this mountain. You did do the exact same. Well, you did rocket down the side and use the momentum to off-road your way home. So, in that case, I will take. Where are you digging, Creed?
I'll dig inside the structure.
I think it was. I mean, it's not too difficult to prise up the stone floor, I guess. Actually, and there'll be dirt beneath that. Cool. And then I will take. I'm going to call it strength athletics, please. Difficulty 7.
Huzzah!
Yeah, you've made a decent small pile of dirt by the time the rest of them get up there after their shenanigans. It's maybe a foot's worth of digging done, a little bit more. Enough for a man or two to stand in. But it's slow going. In the distance, not too much in the distance actually, just towards the foot of the mountain. Past that barrier of effort, all 5 of you can hear the gnashing of jaws, the shattering of metal, occasional growls and low, almost too human mumbles. What are we doing, gents?
Breaking it.
Fantastically ignoring the problem and hoping it goes away.
Rule Britannia.
Britannia rules the way.
In terms of what are we doing at the top of the hill?
Yeah, I'm breaking it. Quietly.
Yeah, that's fine. So Sebastian is having, on the verge of having a panic attack, which, to be fair, is fairly heavily justified.
I'll just keep digging away, keeping an eye on my doorways in case I need to emergency special door.
And the other 3 of you?
Checking all guns and making sure they're fully reloaded. The beast will approach, no doubt, soon.
Yes,
I want to make sure we're ready.
But also, let's get near that door with the door wizard. Not the door wizard, the door...
It's a great sentence.
If you're going to cower in here, you can help me dig.
I was about to say, do we know he's a door wizard?
I think he said, yeah, you've had the
mentioned it.
discussion.
Okay.
I'll I'm not going to dig. I'll wait outside. So I'm nearby. I lead from the rear.
I'm in a wheelchair.
You're a British gentleman.
Just the injured man digging, okay?
I've got one arm. What?
Did you buy a trowel for this purpose?
I'm preparing to provide cover
I dented
fire.
it a little bit earlier, I'm afraid.
Yeah, when I reload when I reload the guns, I'm going to pass them across to. Are you lieutenant or captain?
Lieutenant, if you're talking to me.
Sorry, yes. Lieutenant. What were you again?
Like, I presume you're talking to me.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't remember my character.
Can't see.
Sebastian Thornbury.
Thornbury,
That's it.
thank you, yes.
Sorry,
It's
you weren't
'cause I
showing up
haven't
in the character sheet.
got my picture up to remember that I'm Thornbury.
God
There
damn
we
it.
go.
I hate it so much. Why is
yeah,
he
but
biting
why
his
does that
lip?
The
There we go.
expression gets me every time.
It's so good.
It's just weird, pervy Nigel Thornbury, which makes it so much worse when you think of him saying the word smashing over and over again.
That's completely destroyed any atmosphere of horror.
The noise he does, yeah.
Fucking Nigel Thornbury gurgling his way through the 60s.
I was like, yeah, smashing, yeah!
Do you think... God damn it. God damn it!
Oh dear. Oh, I just need to take a moment.
See, I'm really sad Joe's not there tonight, because Ewan would just be silently melting down, or slightly noisily melting down, and she'd have no fucking clue as to why.
She'd probably tune in at that point, honestly. Such abuse I suffer. So... Reginald Foxley Smythe is getting the munitions together. Woodrow Tango is digging despite his injuries. Sebastian Thornbury is notionally helping out with the defence, but in practice having a little freak out. Timothy Poperjack is skirting his duties of helping and instead supervising. Sorry, yes, overseeing. Yeah. That's what I meant to say, not skirting his duties.
I'm not skirting my duties. How dare you?
And what's Holburn Twight doing?
Laughing at the fact that Creed's character is digging a hole, and he's not going to help him.
Isn't this why we came here?
Yeah, but you didn't defend Holburn.
Would you rather that creature just appeared behind you, or would you rather I watched?
Something about cutting off the nose to spite the face comes to mind.
I do love that Tango is the only person who's stayed vaguely on track for the fucking... This is the second time you've all got to the top of the hill with the intent to dig, and then gone, I'm not really feeling it, fam.
I mean, the first time, we didn't actually bring any digging equipment.
That's true.
Also, the person we brought along as a lower class digger, not a gentleman's Batman or a gentleman, is bolshy as fuck and won't dig.
Oh, you got to get your hands dirty sometimes, haven't you? And by dirty, I don't mean killing your compatriots, in war. No, I mean, getting your hands dirty as a commoner would. It builds character. Gives you a stiff upper lip and all that.
So the character you're building is exactly this character is exactly the people that you despise because, you're acting you're
acting like a toff.
Yeah,
I'm acting like someone who's pissed off at the toffs. Now you know how it feels. That's what I'm getting at.
If you can't beat them, join them.
If I remember correctly, part of this was to save our lives. A little help, anyone.
You've been going at it for quite some time at this point.
Well, I'll go help him when I finish reloading all the guns and making sure they're all in working order.
Well, that's not going to take you too long, because if you'll recall, a good deal of the guns were left with the car. You've really only got what you could grab out, which was a couple of rifles, and what everyone was carrying.
Throw it into the 5-foot hole.
You do not have a 5-foot pole. The 10-foot pole was annihilated by machine gun fire.
Now it's several 1-foot poles.
It's
And
splinters. Splinters and disappointment. You've just about gone over to start helping with the digging there, Reginald, with the one shovel I think you all have between you.
No, everyone got a shovel.
Yeah, but they were with the car.
They're in the car.
It's the. I put my gun away briefly, hand him, you can use this. I give him the trowel, and then redraw my pistol.
Much obliged, sir.
When the noise towards the base of White Mountain ceases, there's no more growling, no more tearing of metal, only quiet.
Shit.
Who's been big game hunting? I think at least one of you has.
Me.
Actually, I probably have.
Now,
I like the idea that Benji was pretty big game hunting for his master.
there are 2 occasions when animals go this quiet. One, when they fucked off, and they're not there. And 2, when they're very conspicuously trying to sound like they're not there, because they've gotten on to something. What do, gents? And I think I'm going to once again say that this one is time sensitive. So if I don't get sufficient reactions, then the world will just react around you.
I am preparing to the equivalent of Overwatch in front of me. Outwardly. Inwardly, I am clocking the best routes to run away from, like the least rocky ground, like most flat, like smooth as sailing as I can possibly get.
You wheelchaired away from them once.
Have we got anything that we could use to make fire?
Paraffin.
Me.
I think you have...
Like a torch or something like that.
You've got whatever clothes you're wearing, and you all actually do have a hip flask of paraffin apiece.
So
I would like to
make a circle of
I would like to prepare some kind of crude incendiary.
Paraffin
if
does
I can.
not explode.
Incendiary. That's not explosive.
Oh, sorry, I've been playing too many video games, and my brain immediately went to, you can't make a fire grenade. Yeah, you can make a torch. Who's donating their clothing?
Nah.
Nah.
The best. Oh man, I've got friggin' polio blanket.
Got a polio blanket.
He does, yeah.
Because it's cold out and he's wounded.
I remember now.
I will begrudgingly donate my polio blanket, but I shall do so in a stoic manner.
Benji taking the polio blanket off a member of the upper class. What does the world come to?
And then, do you have anything to bind it around?
I mean, are all of us wearing suspenders?
Oh, you want to hang it off some suspenders? No, because they'd be nylon.
You could wrap the suspenders around the polio blanket and put that around a stick or something. If you make
Yeah,
it
you don't have a stick, is what I'm saying.
We've got a spare rifle. Have we got a spare rifle?
Yeah, you could use a spare rifle. You'd be down a rifle, but at that point, at this point, rather.
At this point, yeah.
I just use mine as a club anyway. Take it.
Yes, as you take his rifle, you note that as he's been walking on it, it's the barrel is not in a great state, and there's a not insignificant chance that it might have blown up, or the bullet could have ricocheted out at the wrong angle had he used it again anyway.
Well, small miracles. Or small mercies, rather.
I will take... you got all the gear. I will take survival dex diff 5. Unless you have something you'd prefer to roll.
I have craft cooking.
Sure.
While he's doing that, can I encircle the little building?
You do not have that much paraffin. And even if you did, it's still paraffin, so one, it burns very cold.
So what do you want with this? Intelligence? Dexterity?
I said dex.
Dex, okay.
Oh, and as a quick note, I want to be packing the dirt on digging up into some of the doorway entrances into this place.
Yeah.
I'm not actually lighting it yet. I'm just preparing the torch, by the way.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's
Well, 4, 3, 4.
fair.
Double 10 when I have a speciality.
Whoop whoop. So, I can't even think what circumstances you've had to provide make an improvised torch out of a blanket before. But clearly, this is not your first rodeo with this either.
No, fine. It's all fine. Everything is fine.
Everyone, just be calm and quiet.
I'm quiet, but I might not be calm.
England expects. Keep calm and carry on.
There's a brief lull there. A brief lull where you notice something, Reginald. You count 6 breaths on the wind. There are only 5 of you stood here.
Apparently not.
Which way's the wind blowing?
The wind is blowing from the direction of Tutley without WoD. So from the northwest. Okay,
Wow.
Final game plans here, folks.
Well, I can hear the breath. Does it sound like a panting dog, or does it sound like a human, or what does it sound like?
Distressingly human.
I'm gonna... Maybe I'll make that ring of fire that Nick was talking about.
As I mentioned to him about 3 times, that's not really feasible for a number of reasons. The fuel, time, and amount of fuel you have.
It's fine.
I'm just going to call out, who goes there, friend or foe?
Hello.
Can I see which direction he's looking and move the opposite way, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
A low, bone-gripping growl reverbs up over the lip of the bowl, echoes off each and every side of it, shaking all of you down to your core.
Reginald.
Message received. I'd like to light the torch. Message received.
There's a tense couple of seconds there as the cold paraffin for a moment is obstinate, refusing to light. But as you hold the little lighter there and the flickering wind, guttering, threatening to go out, it catches. And a second later you have a bright, flaming torch. There's a snap from the other side of the bowl, and then heavy padding as the beast begins to pace around you. What are we doing, folks?
Maintaining distance from the beast.
So you had a pretty good line on it before. You were like backing towards the opposite lip, but now that it's pacing around, that's putting you intermittently closer to it again, which means I guess you'd have to like back yourself into the middle where you're more trapped.
I shall shout from my diggy hole. Beast, if you can comprehend me, we are here to dig up this evil that I assume you too dislike. Perhaps we could be temporary allies.
No response other than more growling and foot padding.
Don't suppose you want to help me dig?
Yeah, you're doing your best there, but you're digging out a mountain, and you're somewhat wounded.
If you want to help him, by all means.
I'm going to go over and help him dig because it's the right thing to do.
I think all of you are out of time for digging, if I'm honest.
In case you're screwed, Creed. Sorry.
Not diggy-diggy hole time. This is everybody grab some fire time.
You're the only one with fire.
You could make some.
Think you need to look into your plan Bs, gents.
I don't know what my plan B is. I have no idea.
My plan B is, I think, stand near the door wizard.
Oh, well,
yeah,
you know
basically.
what? I'm going to open a fucking doorway.
Sir Thornbury, how good do you think you can aim your specialist skill?
Pretty good. It's not a physical roll.
I'd like to back up.
If I might say so, sir, if I can try and lure it towards me so it moves into attack, do you think you could get it?
There's indeed a...
It doesn't seem to like the fire.
I'm gonna back up to the door wizard as he exclaims he's thinking about opening a door.
Yeah, same.
The way I see it, if this thing they're trying to bring
Carl!
back is dead, we might meet it in the abyss.
God, where are you going? You're literally our big gun.
I don't need to be close to fire it.
You need to be in this plane of existence.
What is your... What's your rating in your Numina there, Woodrow?
1.
1.
This is where it's like, oh, I can't do that thing.
All I can do is open and close doors. And with my willpower, all I can do is open a door.
Oh no! So he can't even put the things to
Can't
the
even close it. Oh no!
This doorway will remain open only to the person who creates the threshold.
And for 1 hour, I believe.
Only to the person who opens it. So none of us will be able to go through them.
Oh,
We don't
fuck.
know that. Like,
I'll remain open. Presumably I could let you in and then go in myself. I don't
No,
know.
it's only open to you.
Oh, actually, no, it's kind of weird because the rest of the powers imply that you can let other people for.
Okay.
I assume it's more if you lost me, you'd never be able to find the door again.
Yeah, I think that we'll go with that, honestly. Cool. And it is Perception Occult, difficulty 7.
That's not affected by my hurts, is it?
It is not.
Or we could, just blast it with fire, with the fire wizard.
I'm
I'd
going to
rather
discount
not
it.
attack unless we're attacked.
I'm going to discount it
Yeah.
down one to difficulty 6 for the magical area and atmosphere.
Oh.
Unnecessarily, apparently.
Nice.
5?
Yeah, unless you got a specialty, that's 5 successes.
Yeah, no specialties.
I still just love the fact the best way to get into the underworld is a shit tier fucking hedge wizard.
As Reginald Foxley Smythe tries to marshal the 5 of you for a desperate last stand.
I will be doing this showily like a magician revealing something hidden behind a curtain.
There's nothing hidden up my sleeve apart from the infinite abyss beyond life.
Technically, that's a different abyss. But
There's like 6 different abysses in this
there's
one.
not 6 different abysses, there's 3. Maybe 4.
A lot of abysses.
It's not that bad. There's only 3 with the same fucking name. God damn it. So, Reginald is calmly, quietly, but firmly encouraging the gentleman to stand firm and to meet the enemy head on. If you die, at least you'll die as Britishmen should. Meanwhile, the rest of the Britishmen are gathering around their emergency escape exit, subtly hinting with extremely pointed looks to get them all the fuck out of Dodge. All 4 of the rest of you have heard of the expression.
Discretion is the better part of valor.
Exactly. And believe that discretion is so much the better part of valor that it's best that you express yourself extremely valorously, here and now. Woodrow Tango dramatically casts down his shovel, turns to the exit he hadn't been piling dirt into in a enthusiastic but likely ultimately futile barricade.
You know what?
And-
Yes, moxie. That barricade had moxie.
And
I'm so disappointed in all of you.
begins weaving his arms in an arcane pattern, matching constellations long since lost to the skies above. Stars not known to human history. Stars from prior ages of the Earth, obtained through occult means, and learnt instinctively through his dreams.
Yeah, you want them good British stars? No, this new old star crap.
For a moment it seems like nothing is going to happen. Like the gateway has failed you. And that 4 of you will die here cowards, and 1 of you will die here an attempted hero. and then the atmosphere of the place seems to take hold. The thin skein of reality separating you from the underworld itself peels away, like a layer of deadened skin. At first coming loose in great clods, and then smaller chunks flaking away, revealing a blackened, darkened doorway into a twisted version of the terrain of the bowl. The grass is dead, the moon overhead is completely gone, and light is all but absent.
Didn't realise this would be a doorway into death. I thought it'd just be a straight teleportation doorway. Cool.
Pretty much is.
Goes to the Underworld!
Yeah.
Where did you think it was going to?
Now, everyone, do not lose sight of me, or you may well be stuck here for eternity.
I was thinking it was going to be like you open a doorway into like another doorway that exists in real space.
No, I go to Ghostland.
I'm going to holster my gun and then take out the... Do we still have the hempen rope?
You hempen rope?
We have 50 feet of hempen rope.
I don't
Torch, and you had hempen rope.
I do remember rope being mentioned last session.
Yeah.
I mean, either that it was the silk rope.
Did you go get it out of the car? Sure. You know what? Fine. You've got your rope. It survived the car smashing.
I give one end to Tango. It's like, you hold on to this end, we'll hold on to the other, and that's where we should get separated.
Sure.
Why don't you maybe tie it around Tango?
You've got a very brief window to evacuate here, gents.
Yeah.
Yes. Quickly, grab hold, and we'll
I
go.
raised my voice.
Grab hold, yeah.
One in, all in, come on.
Choo choo.
Woodrow Tango enters.
I have an important question quickly regarding this scenario that I would just like to confirm before my action. Because Creed mentioned that Tango was piling up the excavated dirt in the doorway to act as some kind of mild barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Is this in front of the portal or behind it, like partway through it? Like,
that's a good point. You're going to need someone to like help you get out because you can't get through the portal from the other side. So you're going to need someone to help you over that dirt.
I mean, if I'm the only one free to do that, I can do that.
Yes, please. I have one arm.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe a posh twat, but it's a damned fine wheelchair and you stand by it.
Exactly.
I would help, but
Okay, with a bit of assistance and knowing that this was in the way, I'm not going to make you roll for it.
Okay. I mean, also, who else will espouse how good my rudimentary wheelchairs are when I inevitably start a business in a couple of months, if I survive this?
And at that, the two of you enter the doorway. Reginald, what are we doing?
As well.
Yeah, I think you went in after Tango.
Have they all run through the doorway?
They have all exited through the door. They've not really run, they've kind of like sauntered gingerly. They're aware they're going into supreme danger, but they're facing supreme danger.
I always like the danger I can see head on rather than growling.
Fine, I'll back towards the doorway. Trying to keep the beast at bay so it doesn't run when I turn.
Maybe stab the fire stick into the entrance because we can't close the doorway.
Have you considered that we don't have any fire or light or warmth going into this strange dark
I've considered that, but I've also considered the fact there's no werewolf in that dimension as far as we know, but there's a werewolf in this one.
As you back towards the doorway, the beast finally begins to crest the hill. It looks less human now, moving on all four legs. Doesn't have arms, just colossal, muscled limbs.
so I kind of got the mental image of the dog from Tom and Jerry, that sort of build.
More like a giant primeval wolf.
I had the image of a werewolf centaur before Ewan said it didn't have arms. So I think werewolf centaur that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
I knew it wouldn't be, but the image in my mind I conjured.
Primeval actually had a prehistoric wolf.
So, the beast locks eyes with you and begins stalking slowly forwards, Reginald. It's just slightly faster than you're moving backwards.
Know this, beast. We do not wish to free this evil, we wish to kill it.
It opens its jaws. You almost fancy you can hear it growl something approaching the word hungry.
It needs some sacred
Well,
guys.
if you're hungry, I can recommend the pub at Totally Without WoD. We did steal a fair amount of sandwiches
forwards.
there. Can I attempt to intercept it with the torch?
It's a gorilla-sized wolf, so you can intercept it with the torch. It's not going to stop it. It'll just crash down onto you.
I'm hoping to ram the torch right down its throat.
Sure, that's basically a death sentence for you, for the record.
Why don't you just dodge to the side?
Even if you kill it. Which is an if.
Just run.
I presume I can't dodge backwards into the doorway.
You can. You positioned yourself there already.
Oh, in which case I'm going to try and dodge backwards into the doorway.
Cool. And as you've valorously left this a little bit late, making sure everyone else is safe before evacuating, and stopping to briefly attempt a small amount of shit talk with the demon, this is unfortunately going to be a roll for you. I will take Dex Athletics, difficulty 7.
I'm going to spend a willpower.
Smart.
Don't spend willpower, be fine. See what happens. Trust the dice.
What was that? Difficulty 7?
Difficulty
3
7.
degrees.
So, yeah, net 3 successes. It hurls forwards, and you throw yourself backwards, kicking into the doorway. All but tripping over the dam of earth that so blocked Sebastian from getting in. The beast tries to leap after you again, but catches its shoulders on either side of the rock structure, which holds for a brief moment. It tries to scrabble its arms through, but the earth in the lower bit of the doorway is blocking it, giving you a vital second to scrabble through the doorway. A moment later, the structure is pulverized. And with it, the doorway is gone.
Oh no.
Hang on a moment.
You don't have enough willpower to open a new one!
That's a magical doorway. I'm sure we can still exit,
Well,
right?
to be fair, would Creed not get a willpower for stepping through into the Underworld?
No, you don't get
really doing it out of curiosity.
No, yeah, but he. Okay, fine. Just become curious.
Out of curiosity.
I might be able to earn one in the Shadowlands. We'll see.
Is indeed the Shadowlands. Not that I believe any of you would be aware of the sobriquet. That said,
meanwhile, somewhere in Venice, an Italian man screams like a shitlord.
The name would be fairly self-explanatory. On this side of the skein, either way, separating life from death, and indeed undeath, everything seems wrong. Decayed, destroyed. In the distance, you can hear the ghostly clanging of iron and steel and the screams of the dying and the damned. But perhaps more stunningly for all 5 of you, you are not the only ghosts here.
We're not ghosts.
Are you aware of that?
Yeah, true.
You're in the Underworld.
I mean, we're breathing, aren't we?
We
You're
might be
indeed
better off if
breathing.
we were ghosts.
I feel like I just
Better off being ghosts. Ghosts are wizards by default. You're not wizards by default.
But we are wizards.
We're
Technically,
we're wizards by default.
Cat wizards.
Yes, so there is one other colossal spectre towering over all 5 of you here. Something that each and every one of you noticed as you entered. Undeath. The ghost of an ancient building stands tall over White Mountain. And the mountain itself on this side seems, well, more mountainous. Whereas White Mountain in the real world It's part of the Pennines. It's tall, but not that tall. You wouldn't call it a mountain anywhere outside of the UK, really. Here, it seems to stretch further and further up, almost to the skies themselves, like an actual mountain. Alp-esque. All around you stretches a strange latticework of stone. A honeycomb structure with ghostly rocks, at the centre of which sits a small building, looking significantly newer than the rest of it, just recently added, the ghostly version of the tiny stone structure the nub left at the heart of White Mountain. All 5 of you feel strange here, drained and unsettled, still sure of yourselves, but somehow wrong on a deep, fundamental level, like you shouldn't be here. What are you breathing? What are you touching? The ground around you has a strange, ethereal quality, and you get flashes of passion and emotion as you interact with the building and the terrain. You do also still have some limited small supplies of paraffin, your torch against all odds, and a variety of sandwiches, which I'm quite annoyed are coming in handy. What do, folks?
Well, everyone, we have an hour, and we may not be able to return if that doorway got smashed by the wolf. I'll bet you anything our boy Diwanesh is in there.
What do you mean we have an hour?
Well, we have an hour. That's how long the door lasts.
I see. Well,
I would just like to have my eye twitching slowly.
I mean, surely we could walk back to town, have a little rest up, and then you could just open another door later on.
You want to rest in here? Are you positively mad?
Well,
Where exactly,
not
if I
that
might
bad in
ask,
here. It's a little bit
is
strange,
here?
but yes.
Oh, the land of not there, certainly.
Well, I'm glad it's not there. There's a big old wolf out there.
And indeed, you can still see the wolf, pulsing with vibrant colours. It prowls around you, and then flies leaping at Poperjack. Poperjack, take 1 level of bashing damage.
Oh, fuck me. Ah!
As the wolf passes straight through you, snapping and snarling. It comes up to you, trying to bite you. It can almost certainly see you, sense you, smell you, taste you, but it can't seem to get you.
What a nerd.
Yes, it seems like it can see us.
You don't say, sir.
Quite
Well,
intriguing.
I'm sorry, have you been here before? I don't know how this works.
I'm sorry, do you remember the maxims of Britishness and the British Army? You stand your ground. You hold the line. You do your duty for king and country.
Now, everyone, we have
You're finally
1 hour.
understanding. I turned to Reginald. It seems like you're finally understanding how they work.
Quiet you.
You also retreated, for the record.
Yes, the thing you did as well.
At that point, there was no line left to hold.
This is the line.
Good sir, if we had not moved, there would be no line to hold in the future.
Yeah, no, I was talking to Holburn, not to Reginald. That was, like, not necessarily smart. In fact, some might say it was actively suicidal. But Reginald did, to his credit, conduct a fighting retreat and never actually turned his back on the werewolf, just like dived backwards and scrabbled into the portal, still waving his torch the whole time.
The thing wasn't about the retreat, it's about how everyone else did.
All I can see now is the bit from Shrek of back, beast, back. I warn you.
It's about how he's angry that, the British...
As Reginald essentially lectures the 4 of you, goes off on one, to be fair, all tacitly leaving him to die in an unspoken agreement to let him ward off the beast for a bit. The 4 of you can all see these flashes of red come out from him, like tiny lightning strikes crackling and curling out into the air. Red and brown and perhaps even a light green.
Sorry, Chris, how much time has your character spent in this environment?
Not super loads. I like to imagine more often than not I use it as a dumping ground for things I want rid of.
Again, in Venice, a shitlord screams a bit louder.
That's probably quite fair. Like, and if you
spent 5 centuries trying to rip open the veil, and just some guy in London throwing his trash through.
Well, I mean, not necessarily his literal rubbish. But
Things you really want to get rid of forever.
Yeah.
Like a body.
He really doesn't want to annoy the housekeeper with the meal is shit. He just opens the door, throws it through.
Sometimes if you got drunk and gone, fuck, just portaled something.
Sorry, it's just...
Oh, hang about. I need to check something very important real quick.
This power is among the most sought-after magical things in the entire world. You need to be a pretty high-level mage to tear open the gauntlet. And even then, that's not necessarily a way to get to the Underworld, it's just to tear open the gauntlet.
Have you known technically that wasn't the gauntlet, that was the shroud? It's the membrane between existences?
You have to be a really good actual true mage to do this. And just this one guy could just do it, and nothing else.
I have a thought, and I'm willing to do it as well. But I do have a dot in occult.
Yes.
I have 4 dots. Just
would all right. Overcompensating.
Flexing.
Yeah, I've got 4 as well.
Yeah.
Would trying to perform a curse from this side onto the werewolf possibly have different effects?
Potentially. Not necessarily positive effects, and the most notable feature of curses is that when they go wrong, they backfire. So
they can backfire.
Not that they can backfire, that they do backfire. That's their shtick.
Well, no, it's if I fail the roll and they backfire. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you can experiment with it if you like. You're on a different plane of reality now, and that's going to affect your ruling somewhat. I have just checked some dates, and we are actually smack bang in the early and some of the worst stages of the 4th Great Maelstrom, which is big boy
Jesus
bad.
Christ.
Anything described as a great maelstrom cannot possibly be anything good.
Yeah. Is this the one that gets kicked up by World War One?
It's not the one that gets kicked up by World War One. It's the one that, it does generally, but the inciting incident for the 4th Great Maelstrom is the song.
Oh shit! Yeah. And doesn't it get worse because of the Spanish flu as well?
It gets World War One lasts between 1914 and 1918. The 4th Great Maelstrom does not end until 1929.
What's the maelstrom? Is that like an arrival of spirit? Is it a storm? Is it energy? Is it?
So within the Underworld, there's this.
Yes, and yes.
Within the Underworld, there's
other things.
Within the Underworld, there's this swirling vortex of energy in the middle of it.
Not necessarily relevant, I will say.
No, but basically to explain, there's basically this swirling vortex of energy, and occasionally, when massive events happen in the human world, that can get hicked up and agitated, and when it does, it spills over and starts smashing everything with massive amounts of death energy.
You are close to the stinky butthole of reality. And great maelstroms are the smelliest farts in existence.
Basically, reality had a really, really, really bad curry, and we are very close to the after effect that sticks in the morning.
God.
Yeah, that is... Yeah, he's not wrong. So, fortunately for you, you're all indoors in this colossal rocky structure, and so you can hear the howling gale outside. Howling, and is that literal howling? Howling that isn't the wolf? That pounding... all-consuming storm.
I'll do it. Are we fully inside?
Yes, the structure thoroughly encloses you and indeed stretches up what looks like...
No sight of the sky at all?
No sight of the sky.
Alright, well, the only way I stop us from getting lost is by stars only I can see in the afterworld. So we might get very lost inside this structure. I don't know how unnaturally lost you get just wandering around, because I assume normal landmarks don't really work out.
Yeah, they don't. Well, I mean, they do and they don't. It's complex. Essentially, the Underworld is a memory of a place, which means that it's governed as much by emotion. Think of it as warp light. Warp with the demons removed, but still almost all of the fuckery.
Sure. I'll be visibly perturbed that there is no sign of the stars from my door entryway. And I will be looking for a window or anything. Look outside.
There are ample windows. This actually looks like, if you didn't know better, you'd say one of the... God, any of you academics? I'm supposed to understand. Yeah, this tower is huge. It stretches what must be a mile up into the sky. There are Escher-esque walkways moving up with no railings and very little support, if any, in some instances.
Is this place wheelchair friendly?
Ersatz platforms. It is not particularly wheelchair friendly at all, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Well, any window we pass by on our journey, and the first one I see now, I will be looking out of to reaffirm the position of the stars I see.
As you...
Quite nervously. Every time I move away from the group, I say, "To me!"
So the walls at the exterior of the tower are essentially at the lip of the bowl. And as you rush over to the nearest window, which has no glass in it, it's just an empty pane, this thick corridor through what looks like rock, but gives you flashes of sadness when you touch it, and feels gritty like sand. It's like maybe a meter long tunnel, far thicker than it has any need to be. And outside, all you can see is a swirling storm disguising the sky, disguising the landscape, and what look almost like flying through the winds, tossed around by the almighty maelstrom outside, are faceless ghosts wearing the tattered costumes of legionnaires, others wearing Celtic patterned trousers or WoD body paint and nothing else, screaming and fighting as much as they can as they get hurled around like cows in a tornado. What do you, folks? Oh, sorry.
I was going to say there's a temptation to make a comment about hopefully not running into all of those people we slaughtered earlier.
Funny joke. No, looked around.
Oh yes, they'll be here.
Oh.
Anyway, I believe these folks were trying to bring back someone called Duanesh, and I'll bet you anything he's somewhere around here. Now, I don't know how you kill a ghost in the Ghostlands, or what have you, but may as well try and do something with the hour we have. I nervously try and catch sight of my stars out the window.
Just
we only have
for
an
reference,
hour.
I believe the hour is how long the door stays open naturally. As the door's now been destroyed, I don't think you technically have a time limit for getting out, because you don't have a way of getting out right now.
Oh, so I've seen the door collapse.
Yes, you've seen the door collapsed.
Ah, okay then. Well, everybody, we are absolutely positively fucked. There is no way out of here without my magic, and I'm currently unable to cast it, so may as well do as we please.
Does it not just
Welcome to death.
My eyes are just going to keep twitching.
Does your magic not just recharge over time? We could just...
Kind of. I might get a surge of energy later. We'll see. For now, I say we look for this Duanesh fella.
So in character, Holburn's going to ask about not knowing about if who's been the ones trying to summon this character, right? This what was the name? The D?
Duanesh.
So presumably it's not the people in the maelstrom, because they're too busy being maelstrommed right now, would be my guess. So it stands to reason then that there is something on this side which is like channeling that energy potentially, and we're going to run into those peeps as well.
Because it sounds like the storm outside is just a thing, but the deaths being channeled by this other, was it god or person?
Depends on the myth.
The difference between gods and people is largely due to where you're standing at the time.
I mean, gods are people, basically. Like,
Powerful being.
Any button there, a person.
Powerful being. Okay. I'm sure we're here. We might as well try to track them down. You're completely right. Yes. So from what we know, they came here to sacrifice themselves. So you'd assume that they're nearby. What happens if we spill a little bit of blood in here?
face palm hard.
It went to the soil, didn't it, and whatnot, so I'm wondering if it's funneled into here somewhere, and if it's going to lead us somewhere else in the building. Any volunteers?
Presumably conspicuous.
I'd like just muttering. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, Karen.
I was just going to say, muttering under my breath. Well, it's your idea. Why don't you do it?
Nope, no takers. Okay, very well then.
He says.
Anyone got a knife? Knife? Anyone? Knife?
I think the butler can
Gonna be
be
cut.
What?
I'll cut him if he wants to be cut.
Just a prick in the finger will do.
What do you do? Are you just sciencing around in the Shadowlands?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here. We might as well.
Let me remind you, if you lose me, you're stuck here forever, so I think I can determine the pace.
Fair enough.
I'm going to proceed through these random Escher hallways until I find Duanesh.
Our character question, how did you guys find out about him? I assume this is in the session I wasn't around for.
I can't remember when exactly, I just know he's in my notes. Oh, we interrogated a guy.
Yeah, he was talking about a whole bunch of stuff.
We did some Latin interrogating. He was talking of resurrection, bringing Master back, atonement for old sins. Blood spilled, owed, must pay back every drop.
Well, I'd assume that spilling some blood would either bring him to us, or the blood would lead us to him. It may speed up the process rather than just wandering around in somewhere that we can get lost.
Reluctantly, I agree with Woodrow.
Meta out of character. Aren't you curious about this?
Woodrow, you would agree with Dango? How dare you? Just want to wander around.
Well, I want to find this Duanesh fellow, the one who's cursed us.
Yes, and I'm saying spilling some blood may lead us to him quicker.
The blood has to go back to him, apparently, so maybe we can follow it if it does the thing. It was moving.
Exactly.
Fuck knows what human living blood does in the Shadowlands. Go for it. Go for it. Bloody yourself.
I
remind you it was seeping into the earth in our real world.
I go to prick Woodrow's finger, but I want to give him a slightly bigger prick than he's expecting.
Not my finger, thank you.
Do you mean Poperjack?
Sorry, yeah.
You could have given him a bigger prick than expected.
God damn it, Carl. You advance on him with your, pocket knife.
Yeah.
And go, it's just going to be a little Butterfingers, as you gently stab him in the cuticle.
Like proper dagger grip.
To quote a movie I can't remember the name of, you're going to feel a little prick being hit by a big prick.
Fucking lower class has got to do anything right. My fucking word.
The blood starts to well up out of your finger, pulses and drops down onto the floor. And it just kind of beads there. Beads. Without sinking into the earth, without running anywhere, without even really obeying gravity. And then begins to gently scream.
Hate it when blood does that.
I don't like this.
I know. Like they're stuck on the cut. No more. It doesn't drop anymore.
It's the idea that our blood is constantly screaming in this part of reality. It's like instead of hearing your heartbeat, you just hear wails. Greatly entertains me.
What are we doing, folks?
I say we go for another finger prick, just to make sure. Scientists do everything 3 times, don't you know?
Are there any ghost legionnaires near us?
You could probably attract their attention. They're like out in the storm, but they're not too far out in the storm. They're like a couple 100 meters away, but with a bit of sufficient screaming.
Trying to keep him.
I'll shout at one. I have the power to open doorways to the mortal plane. Where is Duanesh?
He's fidgeting so much.
In Latin.
In Latin.
You know what? Sure. You take a moment to like prepare in your head. Fine. Yeah, I remember. Conjugate the verb. And okay, cool. Then poke your head, not quite out into the storm, but like just from out in one of the thick doorways. And yell out your phrase.
It's the right way up.
One of the legionnaires out in the storm is hurled past by a particularly strong wind. For a moment you think you've not been heard. And then there's a cry, a scream. The legionnaire starts trying to scrabble through the hill, across the hill, up the mountain towards you.
Isn't he being flung around in a tornado, though?
He is being flung around on a tornado, so he's making extremely rocky progress here, but he's clearly trying to get towards you. You note at this point his rather sharp, glimmering sword.
I suppose maybe shouting about being able to open a plane.
We could use that to stab the werewolf.
The werewolf is still kind of pacing around, keeps trying to eat Poperjack mostly.
Why me?
Oh, have you seen you?
Well,
has Poperjack got a ghost arm in this land?
Do I have a ghost arm?
See. No, I actually read the rules on this recently. So, do you want the honest answer? Because you have no way of knowing in character, but I'll tell you what it is.
Sure.
Yeah, go on.
You may have a ghost arm. It's not attached to you. There's a decent chance it's being used as like a cheap secondary replacement limb by someone else elsewhere. Unless it's... No, it was done in the very last stages of the war. Either that or it's like floating around through the Tempest. Which means there is a non-zero chance... Yeah... Yes, you can. The canonical explanation for ghost limb... what's it called? Ghostly phantom limb sensation in WoD is that it means there is a ghost somewhere that's using the ghost of your limb and you're feeling the sensations from that.
But I have zero control over it.
Yeah, you'd occasionally get flashes of it. It's not that you feel everything. And that's assuming it's attached to someone. It's not necessarily. It could be like deep in the depths of the underworld. It could be just outside in the storm winds. Technically there's a non-zero chance of you outside. It might like swoosh past and slap you in the face.
I want to see that happen.
Please.
You want to get backhanded by yourself.
If I can find my ghost limb in this world. And that's why I have that mechanical one in the future, is that somehow I've tied the ghost hand to that object.
That's actually not that difficult. That's a pretty standard ghostly power. It's even being developed in this time period.
Is there, what happens if you were to bring a ghost limb back through into the real world? Would it just dissolve? Or would it be there?
Depends on the conditions of bringing it back through. Generally, it would follow. There's a variety of ways that ghosts can incarnate in the Skinlands. Some of them relatively permanent, some of them decidedly less permanent, most of them with drawbacks in one way, shape, or form. So it depends on how you bring it across. Generally, they don't last too long, but you can do them multiple times. It's also highly illegal, but all of this is super meta. The ghost government does not like it when you do it, and there are pretty...
highly illegal for a government we don't know exists.
Yeah.
And we don't have to obey the rules of governments we don't know exist. That's
actually,
how it works.
We don't have to obey the rules of government that aren't our own because we're British.
Actually, that government is currently going through a colossal civil war, and the cross-shroud train is like... the cross-shroud laws are just almost entirely unenforced at this point. By 1929, like half of Chicago is supposed to be ghosts running around in the bodies of gangsters.
Wonderful.
So, you have attracted the attention of one legionnaire. They're trying to make their way over. They don't seem super happy about things. They also don't have a face, so it's difficult, but they're screaming just fine.
Everything
they're
in here
having
is-
difficulty. Sorry?
Everything in here is screaming. Just
Not everything. When you touch the walls, you got a distant sensation of sobbing. As you lay down on the ground, you feel sort of a depressed ennui. The air around Reginald seems to, for lack of a better word, seethe. If you didn't know better, you'd say that he was standing in a sauna. You can occasionally hear little fizzes and pops as his rage manifests physically.
Next, you'll be telling me that if you find a ghost dog in this world, it'll be feeling melancholy when you pat it. It will feel melancholy.
Yes, ghost dogs are not happy people. It's a no wolves on Fenris situation.
I would like to meditate on my desire to find Duanesh.
Is this a special rule you're trying to invoke?
I'm just making stuff up as I go along and hoping for the best.
What, you're going to go exploring the tower?
As we've got
the emotional stuff, I feel like physically traversing might not be as apt. I don't know how.
That is true. Physically traversing is not necessarily apt, but it's one of the reasons why the Shadowlands are great and also really dumb, is that physical traversing doesn't really work, but it also doesn't not work, and non-physical traversing doesn't work without physical traversing, so you tend to need to do both, and neither works very well.
Alright. In that case, I shall try and continue focusing on my desire to find Duanesh and try and lead the others through the tower.
Taking a deep breath of still, dead, not air. You look around you. There are several small rooms. There are the nonsense stairways teetering up high into the needle of a needle-like sky-high tower. And as you look into the tiny, recently added, former little structure at the very heart of the ghostly tower, you can see a staircase, long hidden by dirt, now actually spiraling down into the dark.
I bet the spookiest route is the one, everyone. Shall we?
What do you want to do about the Legionnaire?
If he finds us, he finds us.
You know what? Fair enough.
I'll begin descending. I advise you follow me close.
Yeah, following as well.
Sebastian's initially a little unsure, but the stairs seem weirdly accommodating of his traversal. What were you going to say, Reginald? You were going to say a thing?
I was just going to say, I suppose we must, for king and country. It's about all I have left at this point.
I think your floor's been invoked at this stage, right?
No, it's been invoked since they retreated. If you'd have asked me to roll anything, it would have been.
What were you going to say, Ollie?
How is Reginald's torch doing?
The torch actually seems to blaze unholy bright on the other side of the skin, the membrane. It was bright, but not too bright. A blazing blanket with some paraffin just trying to sputter out against the darkness and the cold. Here, it's like a phosphorus torch, an almost magnesium-bright flare, seething away at the shadows around it. It's also the only actual source of warmth.
I'll also try my little electric torch thing. That can help provide any illumination.
That, likewise, is insanely bright, significantly more so than has any right to be.
Right. I'll point it straight down the stairs as we go.
It all but obliterates the darkness in front of you. The five of you begin slowly traipsing down the stairs. The werewolf sputters and cries, snarling and snapping after Poperjack.
We will start digging that hole.
And as Poperjack descends down the stairs and the wolf runs up against the physical barrier, it howls mournfully out to the night sky, scrabbling at the dirt above, and then collapses on its side and begins just shivering.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say it's odd looking at it from underground. You can see through the earth and the dirt to an extent. It's translucent, at least in the part where your structure exists, where the tower stretches down to the roots of the mountain. But as the staircase spirals on and starts to get narrower and narrower, you begin to lose sight of the wolf, the darkness above swallowing it once more.
When it failed to get to us due to the physical barrier, did it howl? Did colours change at all or anything like that? Or thinking emotions?
Sorry, did the howl change or did the wolf change?
The wolf's colour, yeah.
And you were looking for emotions, right?
Yeah. I'm like trying to see it from Poperjack's point of view and slowly piece things together because Nick wants to maybe try things but doesn't want to metagame them.
You didn't see the wolf change shape at all, but it did pulse out those tiny lightning bolts, this time a deep emerald green.
Okay.
What order are you going in? So we've got Woodrow's at the front. Who's after him?
I'll head after him with the torch.
I'll go next.
After that.
So Woodrow, Reginald, Holburn, Poperjack, and then Sebastian, it sounds like?
I guess I don't have much choice.
Yeah, as mentioned, you find the stairs oddly accommodating. Although actually the two of you who are critically wounded do feel drained, being this side of the shroud. The wounds seem deeper, darker. They stink of rot that they didn't just a moment ago. As the death of this land begins to seep into your bodies.
Don't like this place.
It would be worse if you did. How far do you want to keep going down?
Till I see a room? Or if there's any indication of it stopping?
That is fair. I mean, the mountain's not that tall, right? Even with the optical illusion. You've been moving down this staircase for maybe 40 minutes at this point. Time's difficult to estimate. It's grown claustrophobically tight. Sorry?
Over that time period,
yeah.
Because for my curse, I have to channel an emotion. Normally it's anger or rage towards doctors. Normally.
Okay. Oh, right, for the arm. Yep.
Yeah. And kind of going off of what I've seen so far with colours and emotions reacting with this plane of existence, it seems. Try channeling, but obviously not like releasing curses or anything like that, but like the build up to it. As we're walking along, just try using a few different emotions and see if I change at all or anything else happens.
I will take... Where's Timothy Poperjack? It still really bothers me that your name is spelled wrong. This feels like an emotional intelligence thing. So I will take charisma empathy, please. Difficulty 7.
Oh, empathetic. Okay.
Charisma, your empathy.
Well, you're lucky then.
That's one success. Which emotion are you trying to channel specifically? Or any generally? It doesn't have to be too specific.
I'm going to go with... Oh, I didn't actually have it. Confident. Like proud. Proud emotion. Proud. Proud to be English.
Going to try and channel your national pride.
My national pride. My upper Englishman.
Within the hour of someone going, "Come on, lads, for the king," and you ran away. Let it never be said that Poperjack is not a man of contradictions. I'm not saying you can't do it, it's just a delightful...
repositioned ourselves to fight another day. Thank you very much.
Sounds like cowardice to me.
I just figured
What would the king say?
I figured it'd be a more direct route to do Anesh. The digging wasn't working.
Nice save.
I think the best colour I've got, unfortunately, is probably gold. Sorry, that was a bit of a difficult one for me.
That's fine, though.
As you focus on this, trying to bring it to the forefront of your being, using all of your magical training, your skill at channeling emotion, you see a tiny, almost invisible sheen of gold, a small aura, if you will, highlighting your fingertips.
I'm gonna continue practicing and trying this as we're going, focusing on positive emotions rather than negative emotions.
Yeah, that's insanely difficult.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's fine.
You're doing your best, but this place seems to drain the happiness out of you.
I cling to that English pride that I am the upper class. I know what I'm doing. Let's go for this. There's nothing we can't do without some tea and some sandwiches.
So your emotion was in fact toffery. Well, the bad news is that you don't have any tea. You ran out of it a day and a half ago.
That's true. But we have sandwiches, and I have my pipe, so it's all good.
Those are unfortunately both true. At the almost 3/4 of an hour mark, after the staircase has grown almost incredibly uncomfortably, claustrophobically close and tight, so much so that the wheelchair is having to scrape around individual corners, it widens, without warning, into a vast, cavernous chamber. A single suspended platform dangles over most of it. But towards the edgeless sides of this platform, nothingness, inky, black, void.
Is this a platform in the centre of a chamber that goes down further, or is it like a goes to the side sort of thing?
So it's kind of like hung in the centre, but with a little walkway leading from the foot of the staircase towards the centre of the platform.
Well, I think we should walk along it.
Indeed. Oh, Dewinish!
Like, it sounds like you're calling a dog, like, oh, Dewinish, here boy, here Dewinish, good boy's a good boy.
If there's any way to piss off a god, it's to treat them like a dog, so it could work, you know.
The platform is... Didn't the last god you all met, like, one-shot various of you?
Maybe.
Just for contrast.
One day we'll one-shot a god. Nick will probably do it.
I was going to say, give me a pulse and I'll do it.
You could play Exalted. You can punch gods in that. So...
They were not playing Exalted. Because young Nicholas would somehow find a way to make a pact with the Ebon Dragon, and I'm just not dealing with that.
Why are there so many more voices in my head I can talk to? This is
Yeah.
wonderful.
I'm not sure I want to play a game system where young Nicholas is encouraged to make deals with infernal powers. Seems bad.
You know what the funny, hilarious thing is? I remember, like, 6 years ago, when you first told about Demonic Pact, within, like, 2 days you messaged me, like, hey, you want to make a deal?
Yeah, I just read the rules and I was excited. Didn't really know what I was getting myself into.
Same.
So... The platform is not entirely featureless. It's covered in assorted, strange bric-a-brac. Shattered baskets, worn tapestries, rotten foodstuffs scattered to the wind. One by one, each of you emerge out of the stairwell and traipse over the thin causeway towards the central platform.
I'd like to take out, I don't know, some random knick-knack I have on me and drop it down the well, or the chamber.
Yeah, you flick out a tuppence. It falls over the side, and down, down, down. There's no sound. It never hits the bottom.
Are we all tied to each other right now, or are we just holding onto the rope?
I think you're only holding on to it because you were going to tie, and then it was pointed out that the werewolf might come over the lip at any moment, and then you just started filing into the portal.
It might be worth tying ourselves to it
No.
No?
If one of you is falling down the infinite chamber, I'm not going with you. I'd rather be lost and undead rather than falling forever and undead. And dead? I don't know. Something.
It is nebulous, and that's not a good thing. Your confusion is warranted, your terror more so.
I'd like to be looking over the tapestries, and if there's any pocket-sized artworks or artifacts, I would like to steal them.
I think it's actually exactly the same thing as well.
Yeah, there's a good deal of them, each of them giving you strange flashes of emotion. Alien emotion, as you pick them up. Many of the tapestries and small wood carvings seem to depict the victory of an infinite morass of Roman soldiers over terrified-looking locals, Celts, Gauls. Difficult to say.
Is there anything I can lounge on?
There's a number of pieces of shattered furniture. All of them at this point seem essentially destroyed. Actually, for the both of you who try to pick things up just speedily, as you go to grab at them, your hands pass straight through.
I go to sit on one of the destroyed pieces of furniture, presumably falling through it, but I'm like...
You actually can sit on them.
Oh, okay. So I sit on one of them, sort of lounging, and I'm like, look at me, I'm a Roman emperor.
But it's slightly spongy. You almost get the feeling like you could fall through it if you wanted to.
Oh, is it almost like a belief, like I have to believe the thing is real? I'm going to look at one of the artifacts and just hold in my mind that it is solid and present and that I can pick it up.
I will take just a speedy intelligence occult, please, Ollie.
Sure. That is 6. That's 7, D10. Any difficulty? Or hidden?
Diff 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the altercation with the wolf earlier and the sort of strange flashes of emotion from touching these things, you can kind of intuit that they potentially exist on the other side of the shroud.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Just because the furniture is kind of real, and my assumption was because I always think I can sit on furniture.
You can sit on the furniture, but you could also will yourself through it if you'd like.
Yeah. So I was thinking I could do the same with the objects, but
I think, given your fear of falling into the infinite abyss, you'd probably be wary of willing yourself through the furniture in case you go too far.
I do not want to will myself through the furniture. I really hope.
Is there like a centerpiece or anything to this walkway we're approaching?
There doesn't seem to be anything too dramatic in the middle, but as you walk towards the center, you notice that it's not. There is actually an ornate carving. An ornate carving which in Egypt you might call a sarcophagus, but here the design is altogether different, far more Celtic. And rather than being raised, it's laid into the floor. As you stand near it, something drips down from above.
Well, that's only a good sign.
I'll try and catch it.
I want to drink it in my mouth.
I will take Dex. Is it sleight of hand or ledger domain with these sheets? Larceny. Sorry, Dex larceny, please. Difficulty.
Do my injuries take effect?
Yes, but only partially because it's quick. So we'll give you just a -1 pull mod. It's fine.
Okay.
Am I rolling as well?
No, just for him because you were doing you're lounging on a sofa, going, "Look at me, I'm a Roman emperor." 2 successes. Yeah, you snap your hand out. Witch fast? Sure, witch fast. Wincing as your wounds, several of them begin to rip open slightly, Tango, under the stress of sudden movement. The droplet passes clean through your hand, but it does, for a brief moment, tint it red. A deep crimson blood red. Before splattering down onto the carved mouth of the figure.
Now, Tango, assuming, by the looks of things, that is real, and that I'm assuming this place doesn't follow the standard laws of space and time. Is it possible this is actually located in the real world, but below where we were digging. Hence why the blood filtered down.
Potentially.
And the blood ended up.
Also, I have a couple of fun ideas. One, we try and loose the sarcophagus into the infinite abyss. Two, we sneak it open and have a little peek.
You know what? I'm down for plan 2, and then plan 1 if plan 2 goes wrong.
I'm not going to roll, but I have 4 points in vampire hunting as my speciality in occult. I'm just going to be standing there with my eye twitching.
Yeah, you're very well aware that will be a bad idea. However, in the interest of fairness, I'm going to say you have probably also cottoned on to the fact that it, along with everything else on the platform, is on the other side of the shroud.
I'd suggest putting it into the abyss rather than
Even saying that we can't access it because it's on the other side. It's in real life. We're not in real life.
Yeah.
Yes. But if we could find a way back over, we could then push it to the abyss.
Yes, that could be fun, opening a doorway miles under the earth, seeing if we can fit on the other side.
There's a doorway where the stairwell is, and
now,
I don't know.
I will admit, when I open this exit doorway, it won't necessarily take us to the same place we are relative. It could literally take us anywhere.
Indeed, the only thing you can really guarantee is that it almost certainly won't lead you to the place the doorway would have opened up to otherwise.
Just kind of like, that sort of like whimper whine. They're like, mm.
I actually really like this as a side effect of the power. It syncs really nicely. It completely explains how Tango's son, Tango II, presumably, ends up living deep in rural Chile and still being a member of the Order for no readily apparent reason.
In that case, I guess we use this as a information gathering exercise. It's not like we're putting anything out to the village anyway.
Yeah, I'm worried now about what we can do. I rather hoped we might meet Ghost Duanesh and somehow manage to have a ghost fistfight with him or something, but
Well, I'm under the assumption now that if the blood is leading to this sarcophagus of sorts, and they were trying to awaken something, that possibly that is this Dualesh person. And they're just not awake yet.
At the comment "awaken," as you gesture down towards the sarcophagus inlaid into the floor,
oh God,
you glance down for just a moment, Poperjack, and notice, very unsettlingly, that what you had taken for a fully stone sarcophagus either never was, or no longer seems to be, as two rather disturbingly fleshy eyes are open in its face,
Motherfucker.
staring straight at you.
I just shine my torch in them.
Sorry.
My eye's just going to keep twitching.
I will take a brief courage check from everyone apart from Benji. It's a diff 5.
This is eyes in the side of the sarcophagi.
No, in the sarcophagus is inlaid into the floor. It's not above the floor, and they're in the thing.
I'm so happy I made that. I'm not courageous in the slightest.
I'm all good.
Poperjack also makes it on 3 successes. Holburn makes it on 4 successes.
Right. That's all.
Just to clarify, what's the cause of this?
It's opened its eyes!
You're in the underworld, and the spooky sarcophagus you think is an evil, mind-controlling vampire monster just opened its eyes and has been just casually listening to the conversation for an indeterminate length of time.
Oh, well, no, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't, I say that's standard scary versus, something about to fuck,
It's a bit supernatural scary. Yeah, it's a low difficulty because it's like, oh shit, but it's a big oh shit moment.
Well, what I mean is it's, comprehensible.
Is it? We're in the underworld being looked at by a spooky coffin we think is containing a monster.
We'll say 70%.
Yeah, exactly. I can understand that, is what I'm saying. It's I know why that's scary. It's not like a case of some mystical force has suddenly come along and just been like, haha, fuck you.
Well, I mean,
it's not like a look from the eyes, like a magical power that has emanated
you're asking
from
for
it.
clarity. Okay, fair. No. Dread gaze does exist, but no, it's not dread gazing. Though it would be funny if all 5 of you just got dread gaze, then like ran off into the abyss.
I mean, funny for you, maybe.
Yeah, it's TPK. How do you TPK them? We'll have a real scary set of eyes.
Yeah, and then campaign 2. This is now a Wraith campaign. Your goal is the same.
Except this time we use depression powers.
Yes, generally. You can be
We've
powerful
ended
for
up
many
in
things.
we've ended up in the Underworld, and we're going to join together with the King of England and conquer the Underworld for the King of England.
Yes,
King and
of
country.
course.
So,
Sounds fantastic.
that is successes all round from everyone near enough to go, oh, fuck. It's a small start from all of you, but nevertheless, you managed to hold yourself.
Can I poke the eye?
Well, first, does it react to the light?
It does not react to the light, and you can poke the eye, but are you sure you want to do that?
I will encourage him to do so.
Do you have a stick?
Holburn, I see that spark in your eye. I know you want to touch that.
Our rifles, they have bayonets, right?
Sorry?
Our rifles have bayonets, if I remember right.
They would have a bayonet lug,
yeah,
yes,
it's
but
not
whether or not we've got
necessarily
the bayonet.
Yeah, it's not necessarily fixed. But to be fair, I mean,
One day,
we can say that you've got your bayonet if you want it.
I'm going to affix the bayonet, and I'm going to gently poke it in the eye, while still holding onto the rope. In fact, I'm wrapping the rope around my wrist.
I am holding on tighter. I wrap the rope around my arm once and hold on tight.
I have dropped my end of the rope.
As you poke the tip of your bayonet into the eye of the monster that exists on the other side of the shroud, it naturally simply passes slightly through it. And then the memory... no, it's not a relic, fuck. And then...
It's alright, I've heard rifles are non-conductive to relics.
Rifles are actually a pretty big transfer over to relics for various reasons. Especially the
I-
one.
I mean, not like you know how some things aren't electrically conductive. This is not relically conductive. As in, I can't get
what that means in this context, like...
Shut up, yeah, it is. I don't know.
I appreciate your desperate attempts to prevent what you strongly suspect may be a non-standard game over, but no. Then you feel the gun begin to get cold in your hands. Ungodly cold. I will take a permanent willpower roll, difficulty 6, please.
Is that just my willpower as a roll?
It's your total willpower, not your current willpower.
Yeah. Then
Cool, 3 successes. Yeah, you're able to yank the gun away fairly quickly, but as you pull one of your hands off of it, you note to your intense horror that a good deal of your skin sticks to the gun, having flash frozen to the handle.
You.
you know, I think that guy just gave me the cold shoulder.
More of a cold hand, but I appreciate the humour.
If I had the power, I would throw you in the corner.
And to finish off the session, as the blood begins welling out of your hand, it starts to scream. That feels like a good place to leave it for the week. Does anyone
Will I
have
roll to resist aneurysm?
You asked that in so many separate campaigns.
Yes, he does, actually.
Am I wrong?
Just because you're wrong, just because you're right.
You know what, let's have a look at your sheet, shall we? Sure. Roll me self-control, please, Reginald. Difficulty 7. 2 successes. You have turned a deep shade of crimson, but you're not dead. Does anyone have any reminders they want for next session? Anything they want noted down?
Ollie
Stuck
has
in
just
the
spilled
shadow.
blood all over the vampire coffin thing in the darkness.
No, we'd already spilled plenty of blood by killing a load of people on the mountain above it anyway.
Not directly into the coffin in the
He
underworld!
was being drip fed, and you just splashed him with water.
No, I didn't. It's welling up on my hands. No blood, as far as I'm aware, has left my hand and gone onto the vampire.
Well, that's true. If only it was, thank God it's not a liquid that tends to, flow or run or anything.
It's not even on the floor, as far as I'm aware. It's literally on my hand right now.
It's also
Any other
in pebbles.
reminders?
We are lost in the underworld and can't get out.
Blood screams.
Sounds like an emo band name.
Poperjack is starting to connect emotions and spiritual lights in
For the
quotation
first
marks.
time in his life.
Fair. Anything else?
My hand hurts.
I think that's probably able to be guessed from reminder number 1. Holburn is bleeding from his hand.
Yeah, but
We are holding on to 50 foot of hempen rope.
I have dropped my end of the rope.
The bastards had rope. Be angry about this.
Yeah, they did let you burn that blanket.
The gun!
Oh, dear.
We know guns don't work against it.
Good.
When it was chasing us in the car and we were shooting it, it was doing nothing.
Anything else?
There's a werewolf outside. Or rather,
Right.
it's
Werewolf.
inside.
Oh, the werewolf outside is frightful. And the underworld's not fucking delightful.
Oh,
Let it scream, let it scream.
possibly underneath crater/dig site.
It's like speculative archaeology at this point.
What this is some kind of very high form of grave robbing.
Generally,
Isn't that-
you use the Shadowlands to rob the living, not the dead.
We just got to be contrary about it.
Right, consider us pioneers.
What is this this isn't a reminder. No, this is a following the narrative questions bit, so I'll wait.
Fair. Any other reminders in that case? Okay. Feedback. Anything you liked, anything you disliked, anything you'd like to see more of or less of next time?
I like the representation of the Shadow World.
I'm glad. I
Yeah.
really like the Shadowlands. It's such a fun, dumb setting. I'm especially happy with Ollie asking, "What's a maelstrom?" Is it lists 4 options, all of which constitute maelstroms? Because very frequently the Underworld's answer to everything is yes, it is that, and also.
So you have 4 maelstroms, 3 rifts, 2. I know we had a 2 earlier. I can't remember.
You have a
the 2
lot. You have a lot more. So they're called nihils in this context, but nihils are just all over the place. We haven't really gone into them honestly, because if I'm honest, I don't trust the party with them. Invariably, one of you wind up putting your finger in, or worse, and that's like a fast way for non-standard TPK. So we've just not addressed the subject of Underworld fissures. We've left you with the maelstrom. The nice beginner apocalyptic storm.
One day when we can be trusted not to put our finger in it, we'll graduate to a new, higher, more terrifying level of apocalypse.
And put our dick in it.
Just when Ewan thinks we're trained, Carl's there unzipping.
Carl makes thirsty comments. Carl does not do thirsty actions, in my experience.
Well, at some point we'd probably end up at around the 6th Great Maelstrom, and then the discussion would then be, what's grandmother? And Carl would try and fuck it.
Grandmother is from Orpheus, not the 6th Great Maelstrom.
Still the same setting, it's in the Underworld.
No, it's really not. Orpheus actually retcons the ending to Ends of Empire.
Someone at some point, I think, is going to piss into the maelstrom to see what happens, and there's a non-zero chance it's me.
I really like the 20th anniversary version of Orpheus. We might do Orpheus at some point. Orpheus is fun.
Well, not to. Off is so dumb.
No, Orpheus. So Orpheus is what's it called? Living people exploring the underworld through either drugs that make you astrally project, or like cryo sleep to like flash freeze you, kill you, give you a ghost, and then resuscitate you so your ghost is sucked back into your body.
Sounds like a lot of fun, to be honest.
It is a lot of fun, and it's so dumb. And the retcons, they like the retcons they made for 20th anniversary edition also kind of make it a lot more playable, and a lot more dumb in very entertaining ways.
It's already dumb. Such a dumb setting.
That sounds really good.
The only
like
criticism
that.
I have of it is that the 20th anniversary edition removed the Orphan Grinder class, and if that doesn't give you an idea of fucking Orpheus. Oh dear. Look, everyone gets to play an Orphan Grinder. No,
I love that. Just fumigating raging spirits is one of the things you can do in Orpheus. Just love the idea of fumigating an unliving person.
Oh, Orpheus.
So, yes, happy everyone liked the Underworld. I really love doing Underworld stuff. Any other feedback?
How do I put this? I think the tone was successfully revived, shall we say, after more comedic moments.
I'm glad we were able to have the comedy, but also the serious moments as well. I was struggling to get into the horror bits there, but I think we managed it, and even got our Egyptian mummy scare at the end. Any other feedback? No? Okay, in that case, I will give my one point. Well, I guess the 2 points of view. So one, thanks for working with me on getting more into the horror swing of things. I know I was a bit railroady with the werewolf, but it felt like it was kind of needed. And two, I want you to all imagine how very, very different the entire campaign would have played if you'd used the Underworld door thing the first time you got up there as one of your two plans, which you were going to do, and then at the last moment went, nah, we'll do the blood thing. And just
What
never
was
got
the
around
Underworld
to
gore thing, sorry?
opening a door into and seeing...
Oh, opening a door, sorry, I thought you
Yeah.
said gore.
No, it was the Underworld door. Opening a door into the Underworld and seeing, is it weird on the other side of the Shroud? Whereupon you would have encountered the ghostly building thing 4 or 5 sessions ago and skipped a load of the the most tense encounters. Wouldn't have met the Legionnaires. Wouldn't have had a load of the shit with the werewolves. Would have missed out on a load of the deaths.
Yeah.
I was tempted for ages, but my fear was that I'd open the gate and there'd just be Diwanesh on the other side and he'd immediately murder me.
An extremely valid fear. It's pretty common for there to be things waiting to murder you on the other side.
I was genuinely surprised we didn't have an actual, company of Legionnaires on the other side just waiting to murder us.
There's a legion of them out there. They're flitting around through the storm winds, battling a load of ghostly Celts.
Do they have control then? That's actually going to be one of my questions. They do have control in this wind then. They are being buffeted, but they can fly through it.
You know what? In that case, that brings us on to the narrative questions. Is there anything anyone was narratively unsure on? Is everyone following the plot? And in that case, to answer your question there, Ollie, some of them, yes. Some of them have actual wings. Some of them, no. Most of them, no. A lot of them are just kind of making the best of what they've got.
Okay.
Some of them are fighting in small unit formations or just grappling on the ground, seemingly unaffected by the storm winds. Some are hurtling straight through the skies above.
Yeah, I can't lie. I got a vague image of loads of them kind of doing drive-by strikes as they get battered about.
Yeah.
So, I have a few questions.
Shoot.
What is the Society of Hat Wizards, or Hats? I forgot what we call ourselves now. The Hats.
Haberdashers.
The Haberdashers. What's their stance on vampires and werewolves? Slash, if they know about them.
Generally that they're considered somewhat unconfirmed, but probably to be there. There's a variety of schools of thought and people who claim to have hunted them. See Reginald Foxley Smythe. But also people struggle to bring back proof for whatever reason. Or they do bring back proof and then the proof disappears and then eventually they disappear. So there's kind of a soft be careful, but also investigate, and that everything must be kept for the advantage of the society.
See if I can weaponize a vampire then. Okay.
Yeah, is generally what everyone's really searching to do. Unless you were to have a secret objective seeking to stop people from weaponizing vampires, of course.
Yes, of course. And my second one, because I don't want to be trying to do silly things and then like basically wasting half my game and so forth doing stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is obviously a bit more of a meta question, I guess. Emotions in the shadow worldy place. Is there a way of like, do they have like a, if you have a strong enough emotion, you could do something with it, and so forth, or is it just pretty light?
That's actually a core mechanic in Wraith. You're not actually a ghost though, so you don't really have anything specific that you can do off of it. Though arguably emotions are more powerful in the Underworld in that they have like actual physical form quite often.
Well, it's because obviously my particular class of magic, curses, flows off of emotions.
So you would probably find that your magic is both more powerful and less controllable.
Okay. So it's more going to be a effect on my current powers rather than weaponizing emotions.
Depends how you want to weaponize it, honestly. Not that any of you were to know this, but there's a decent chance that, say, if you'd like swept your hip flask through the air behind Reginald when he was extremely pissed off, you would have been able to catch a literal whiff of hatred inside them and then sniff it or drink it or huff it or what have you later.
It's more of a it is what it is rather than doing like if I was to like fling rage or happiness at someone to then affect them in some way.
Depends what you've got and what form it takes. For contrast, I mean, again, this is super, not that you would know this, but like a pretty common shot that you'd get in a lot of ghostly bars is if they can't afford dreams or more wholesome emotions, which tend to be more difficult to manifest, is depression is a pretty common like shotter. So it depends on the substance, basically. You could conceivably get a big armful of like pure aggression and toss it at someone and have them be momentarily overwhelmed, especially if they're not a ghost and not used to it, or they're a very young ghost or something. It's where you get that from, because you need to harvest it and then usually put it into something, and it's the whole thing.
Oh, I have a potential mechanics question.
Shoot.
I've been reading over my Starlight thing again. I've noticed as well it said I can only bring companions equal to my willpower, which is worked out because I have 5 willpower.
Wait.
But also, if people I bring with me get the shield that lets them breathe and walk on the Shadowlands. Now,
you should have let the
is the duration of that
through.
Tied to the hour duration of the power?
We will say that lasts as long as they're with you, so if they get separated, then they don't get it.
Okay, but it doesn't run out after the hour.
No, it's like you can still have it, it's just other bad things will happen to you. And it might weaken over time, but not in a strict hour, we'll say.
Right.
You can still breathe and walk around in the Shadowlands, it's just that it'll become harder for you, or harder for everyone else without your Aegis. And as for the breathing, like you can still breathe, you can even still eat, but you will get less nourishment out of it. And
we don't belong there. So the longer we spend here,
you're steadily absorbing pure death, and the Aegis is somewhat protecting you from that. It would normally be a really bad idea to go into the afterlife with open, life-threatening wounds, is asking for death to pour into them. But your Aegis...
So it's like going into one of those industrial Chinese sissies.
It's not great. It's
you'd never do it unless you had to.
Yeah, because it's seeping into it's seeping into all of your every pores anyway, right?
Yeah. It's like how ghosts can't really stay in the mortal world unless they really tie themselves to it. We can't stay here without risking horrifying, dying.
That's a very
I was more making a comment on the sheer level of smog in industrial Chinese cities.
Yeah,
it feels like it sounds like it's akin to standing next to a nuclear reactor without the correct equipment, and unshielded, reactor.
Exactly. You wouldn't necessarily notice that you're not breathing properly, but you might realize that, oh, I've been out of breath for an hour, or that you're sucking down lungfuls of air without really realizing it, because it's not air.
I have that when I smoke too much.
Ewan had that when his lungs were ripe.
God damn it. So, any other narrative questions? No, fair.
Oh, narrative question before a future game. When are we playing a Wraith game?
Fuck, never.
I really like Wraith.
Oh, fuck Wraith.
Wraith
It just gets No, Wraith is like Mage. It just gets too weird in the end.
No.
It's too much nitty-gritty. No, because the
It is
moment
a
you
lot
start
of
after doing harrowings for other people, because you're playing other people's fucking ghosts, it just
harrowings
ends up in
are
a
so
fucking
much fun.
problem.
Harrowings are, you have to run a little,
You play as the other person's bad shit, right?
Yeah, so it's essentially you have to do a little
the
vignette vision quest
I know.
for another player character as their evil self that's designed to torture them, but also has to have a narrative through route where if they learn a moral lesson then they're okay, and another player gets to GM it, and all of the other players play evil acting ghosts who consist of parts in the play. They're good little things, harrowings, little mini GM sessions. But yeah, we'll probably play Wraith at some point. We'll probably play Orpheus at some point as well. Maybe even Orpheus first, because Orpheus is probably easier to get people into.
Is it End of Empires that has the memory towers, or I can't remember?
End of Empires, yeah.
Yeah. Good, because that got dumb.
Mnemosyne does exist in regular Wraith, but it's super mega banned.
Yeah, but the thing that's in the memory towers in End of Empires is what I mean when I say it gets dumb.
It was worse in the original draft. Anywho,
I know.
Let's do some exploit. Ha! Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. Cool. Does anyone feel like maybe significant plot progression for this session?
Yes.
We know plot progression. Oh no, he's actually. Oh, carry on. Yeah, sorry. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, I wasn't actually pausing.
Sorry, please carry on, Nicholas.
No, fuck that.
All right, no plot progression XP. That's
no,
fine.
no, I'm joking. So we think we've actually found out where the blood's going.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention it. I really wanted to, and I fucking hate myself for this. There's a giant, pointy, thin stalactite hidden in the shadows of the room directly above his mouth that you didn't notice on walking in, and the blood is swirling all the way down that, and then droplet by droplet dripping into his mouth.
The sarcophagus has an imprint of a person on the face of it then?
Yeah, it's like a carved person.
Okay.
It looks like that, but now that carving's eyes are open and fleshy.
Yeah.
The mind is winning the...
It's like he's dried out so much he turned to stone, but now we've started to wake him up.
Classic torpor.
Sort of thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I mean, to be fair, for elders, yeah, and also, I don't have a fixed clan down, but, at this point, they could be anything. Fortitude can do some funky things at the elder levels.
Ancient Roman sarcophagus.
I wonder what happened.
It actually looked Celtic.
Oh, it was a Celtic one.
Yeah. It was mentioned Celtic, and a lot of the carvings and tapestries look Celtic. Sorry,
there's a very big clue as to where this guy comes from his name that people seemingly haven't picked up on.
His very Welsh name.
Yeah, his very not Roman name.
Young Nicholas?
Also, that we've probably found out what's his name again?
Duanesh.
Where Duanesh is and what he possibly is.
That's actually fair.
I think we had a good idea what he was, just I didn't.
You had some suspicions, and to an extent, yours are kind of cheating, Benji, because you wrote the campaign spec.
quiet, you.
Okay,
Let me meta in peace.
Like, I think you've been pretty good about not metaing, honestly. But also, the mystery was always kind of fucked for you in terms of you wrote it. So,
Yes.
like, it's not a criticism at all. But I've not been really counting your theories so much.
Well, I've been trying to have very few of them.
Yeah, exactly, and I think you've been great about that.
I'm totally confused now as to why those Roman legionaries trying to revive a kilt.
It's actually, I think, got a beautifully fantastic explanation, and if we don't get it in the campaign, I will tell you in the post-campaign notes, and you'll kick yourself, because it's surprisingly obvious. Cool. Character development. Does anyone have any does anyone feel they developed their characters this session?
Yes.
Okay, no character development XP. Excellence of roleplay.
I was going to say, I unfortunately abandoned my curiosity for seriousness when we entered the Shadowlands.
So you've been pretty curious about, trying to grab things and go downstairs and such.
Would have been good to be more curious about the experimenting rather than panic mode.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, he's not really being curious. He's been, as he says, like, ruthlessly pragmatic on the basis that, like, the rest of you are treating it as kind of like, oh, this is dangerous but weird but kind of cool, right? And Woodrow Tango's here knowing, like, yeah, no, every minute you stay here is severe danger that you'll never get back, and you already don't have a way back, which means that
I probably never lost my door before like this.
Oh yeah, this has never happened. You're doing an admirable job of not panicking, and I haven't asked you to roll the courage for the panic, at least partially because of how well you've been role-playing, just going, right, okay, action-orientated. We need to solve the reason we're in here, and then find a way out, or vice versa, and get them done quickly. So you've been on the ball there, and as a result, there hasn't really been the instability required for a roll. But I actually noticed that and thought it was really, really fun to see. They're like, okay, this is business time. We're going to die, probably, kind of hopefully. Lads, let's do this. Yeah, we can hear you, Ollie. Any other character development?
I only ran away when the party ran away. Didn't just go off on my own. Like, that's a first.
Reginald loses faith in the gentleman.
It's also true, actually.
Found some good pictures that might vaguely look like what our things are supposed to be.
Excellence of roleplay. Does anyone feel like anyone else roleplayed particularly well this session?
The aforementioned Chris behaviour. I'd say Chris Tango behaviour. Entering.
It's entirely fair. I did really like that everyone else had this quite subtle, like, oh, this is a bit weird. And Tango there, meanwhile, low-key panicking, but in a very organised way.
This is Mechanicus people meeting. This is the Mechanicus people snapping. Like you said, when a member of the Mechanicus meets dumb members of the public for the first time and sees what the shit they're doing. It feels like the same sort of energy.
This is your vortex missile moment, basically. You're saying.
I don't know. I would disagree because I feel like when you have an AdMech snapping, it tends to be more like they start to act like a stereotypical AdMech, and in this way, he's not being screechy or high-strung or irrationally paranoid. He's being like ruthlessly pragmatic and on the ball, because he appreciates the gravitas of the situation in a way that the rest of you don't seem to. Apart from Reginald, who's currently in a bit of a huff because his whole worldview is a lie. And
I mean, to be fair, I've just been having like a quiet breakdown.
Yeah, well, exactly, right? Like, Sebastian's been quietly breaking down in the background. He was facing death a moment ago, and now he smells like death and is in the land of death, and traversed his way down a 40-minute staircase that seemed easy enough going down, but might be more difficult going up. He's not having a good time. Yeah. Holburn and Poperjack are still doing their old trivial bullshit. So, fun times. Any other Excellence of Roleplay awards?
Benji's, like, I'm trying to find the right word for it. Because I want to say blowout, but that's not the right sentiment, really. Like, and neither is breakdown, for that matter. It's more, like, akin to, like... Again, I can't quite find the right way to describe it, but fuck this, fuck you, fuck it all, I'm done.
Reginald's worldview is challenged?
I mean, yeah, but like it is the way in which you've reacted to that.
Fair. Any other excellence of roleplay?
I liked everyone refusing to help me dig. For their various reasons. Poperjack being like, oh no, I'm super seeing over here. Holburn being like, oh, I think it's your turn to do some menial labour. Just being like, please. We need to do something.
We're going to die unless we excavate this mountain in record time. But some of you, please stop standing around.
I think I chose the most appropriate action for my character, though.
Yeah, no, it was just funny though. And also,
it's like let's get the two most heavily injured people doing the manual labour.
About time.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's time and a place for being petty and spiteful, right? That was not it.
Cool, so I make that out to be 10 experience points for session number 38. That's 3 points of plot progression. You think you know where the blood goes, you discover where Duanesh is, and you discovered what he is, maybe. 3 points of character development. That's Tango abandons curiosity for seriousness. Sebastian is comparatively brave by his own standards. And Reginald loses faith in the gentleman en masse.
Coming to the peasant side of Benji.
What was that total again?
10. 3 points excellence of roleplay. That's Tango switches into business mode, Reginald's worldview is challenged, and the party succumbs to petty bullshit in the face of certain death. Plus 1 standard. Now it's time for everyone's favourite part of the session. It's the highlights. Benji, do you have any highlights for that session? Oh, is he there?
Well, the cavalcade of young Nicholas running away, but I'm trying to think of a way to...
Cavalcade of cowardice.
Yeah, basically.
I am not running away. I was making...
You ran away twice!
Decisions. No, they were logical decisions. I am sorry. We had no way of fighting that thing. I positioned myself in somewhere that I would have a better chance to either fight or survive.
I'm glad I was with you guys, because I would have tried to reason with that werewolf like an idiot and died.
I mean,
sir are a gentleman. And as a gentleman...
you?
I think if you had said that, or Ewan would have just killed you. Non-standard game over.
I feel like that's actually somewhat of a standard game over for Creed in certain ways.
Evil dog.
This time, I like to think, I'm trying to take on Creed's mantle, where I'll just touch all the things and see what happens.
Everybody loves armoured cars.
That's very true. The armoured car tangent was oddly fun and engaging for, I think, everybody.
Oh no, it's got a hand crank.
Anything else?
I think that's it for me for now.
Fair. Carl, do you have any highlights for that session?
Have several, yes. Door Wizard Supreme.
Fair. Anything else?
Smashing.
Yeah, I like that.
Anything else?
This isn't diggy-diggy whole time.
That's an exact quote, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Anything else?
It is diggy whole time. It isn't diggy whole time.
The last one I have is kind of all-encompassing. From frying pan to fire.
Fun fact, fires in the Underworld burn cold.
Fun fact, if things do get hot enough, they do feel cold. It just burns your nerves out.
Would that count as our fire? Because our fire didn't originate in the Underworld.
Nope, your fire burns hot. It was mentioned earlier even. It feels hotter than it did otherwise. But Bale fire burns cold.
I believe it was, you said the torch is the only source of warmth we have.
Yep. You'd all be feeling a lot worse for wear if you hadn't brought the flaming torch in, honestly.
Huddle.
Not the fuckers, but it also lasted for over an hour.
Yeah, it's kind of
Almost.
subsisting on its own emotions to an extent.
And a very angry torch.
It did not have over an hour of fuel or wick from the blanket. So it's at this point...
Unghost fire.
I hate that I know what you mean. Any other highlights, Carl?
That's it, thank you.
Cool. Ollie, do you have any highlights for that session?
I mean, the crank has already been mentioned.
I really liked the crank.
What was it? Woodrow letting go of the rope when I poke the eye.
Anything else?
I did thoroughly enjoy making the toffs dig for their, work for their work.
What, you risked your own life? Fine.